Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Business Bites. My name is Henry. I am here from the Kent and Victor Chamber of Commerce. Today, we are going through the ever popular topic of AI. I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Ian Pateman and Phillip Jarman from Innovate UK, doing some really interesting work in the Southeast region at the moment specifically. So, it's going to be a very engaging session. Just a quick one. Can I just ask those of you that have joined the session, if you haven't already, to change your names to your full name and company name? Um, Unfortunately for today, we're going to have to make sure that we finish sharply on time for this session. So if we don't necessarily have a chance for questions and answers, we will be sending out Philip and Ian's contact details at the end of the session in a thank you email. So you're more than welcome to email them and ask away then. So that is absolutely enough from me. I'm now going to pass you over to Ian to do a bit of an introduction.
Thank you, Henry. Can I have the first slide, please, Philip? Right, my name's Ian Pateman. I'm an innovation and growth specialist as part of the Innovation Business Service Programme, which is run by Innovate UK. It's run throughout the country, but in the Southeast, it's run by the University of Greenwich. So the University of Greenwich run our programme, but we're funded by Innovate UK. I guess the way it works is not so important. It's more about the service that we operate. So I'm going to talk through our service as an introduction, and Phil will obviously talk to you about AI and marketing. Next slide, please, Phil. So we are part of Innovate UK Research and Innovation, which is the government's innovation agency. And just to say, as the slide shows there, they spend a lot of money, 7 billion a year at the moment. Fingers crossed it stays like that after the spending review, on supporting academic organisations and other companies to innovate. So it's very much a government focused on making sure that UK is at the heart of innovation, which traditionally we have been for many years. Next slide, please, Phil. Our mission, as it says there, is to help companies grow through development and commercialization of new products, processes, and services. So we are Innovate UK's foot soldiers. So we don't come along with a wallet and say you can have this money. What we do is give you our time and our expertise and our knowledge. If money is something, or grants, we can help with that. But our primary aim is to help you through coaching, mentoring, to help you develop new products and services. So the key thing there is to work with companies that are innovative. So either products, services, or processes. Next slide, please, Phil. So essentially, there's two strands to what we do, and this is what Innovate UK does. There's funding. So probably many of you would have heard of the Innovate UK grants. So there's different types of grants. It'll either be an open call. So here is what we call smart grant. So if you've got a good idea, you can apply for this. Or there's something like more specific calls or competitions. So they will say, we want to solve XYZ problem, and you can bid your solution. Those tend to be the ones that are more successful. Funding also comes in terms of loans. These are for companies that can't actually get a commercial loan. So they might be too early or too risky. So we provide interest-free, not free loans, but loans that companies wouldn't otherwise have got. Investor partnerships are where an investor is looking to invest in maybe a fairly early stage company, but the risk is too high, so they're not prepared to do that. We can secure, or we can support some of his investment. So we're basically de-risking it. So we help investors actually invest in companies that they would usually shy away for. So we take a bit of the risk, basically. Procurement of innovation, that is where we work with local governments or public bodies like the NHS to solve problems. So the NHS might have a problem they're trying to solve, and private sectors can basically apply for a grant, so they're solving a problem within the public sector. It's not necessarily just companies, it could be academic organisations. They're coming in and doing something the government wants the public sector to do. The support, which myself and Phillip are more on, is, as I say, the support we offer is very hands-on. We are there to help you grow your business. It could be connecting to the wider Innovate UK infrastructure. There are 9 catapults situated around, well, there's 9 catapults, there's 41 centres, and these are all centres of excellence for different sectors. So, for example, there's a digital catapult, which has offices in London, Brighton, I think it's Sheffield. It's got 4 offices nationwide, Belfast. And these are buildings with machinery, equipment, expertise that you can access via our program. Global, we do take companies abroad to visit on technology trips. So, for example, there's been one to Japan where the Japanese energy companies are looking for innovative ways of storing energy. So we took a group of 10 companies over to Japan to talk to the energy suppliers, to talk to tech people in Japan. It takes about a week. The idea of forming collaborations and forming business relationships. Connecting, we do a lot of connecting. If I'm honest, the landscape for business support is really complex, even for we try to make it simple, but we understand that landscape. And so there's something that we can't help you with. We can usually connect you to an organization that can help. When we work with you, we can introduce lots of tools and techniques. So business model canvas, which probably a lot of you are familiar with. We do that as part of standard work. But the key thing is we work with you in a bespoke way. So we don't come with a menu and say, this is what we can help you with. We find out where you need the support. We also have got a lot of links with talents, so the universities, academics. So if you're looking for an intern or what we call a KTP to work on a specific project, we help facilitate those. I'm going through this quite quickly, so if you have any questions, please email me at the end, as Henry said at the beginning. Next slide, please, Phil. This just emphasised that our support is totally tailored to your needs. Over the country, there is 400 specialists like myself, covering from Scotland down to Cornwall. In the southeast area, which covers from Hampshire over to Kent, there is 26 of us, and they all come from different backgrounds, different knowledge, different sectors. So when I'm working with a company, I might involve one of my colleagues, for example, tomorrow is an IP specialist, and I'm taking her to meet a client who's got an IP need. So 3 strands to what we do, but as I mentioned, it's all bespoke. So we help develop an innovation strategy. We do quite a lot around IP and access to the small amount of funding that we can provide for that. Quite a big strand is finance and funding. We run and we have an investability team, and we have an investment ready program called Investability, which is a 3-day intensive program helping companies prepare pitch deck, practice their pitch deck, which Phil is part of that team. And we do a lot with supporting companies develop their businesses overseas through what we call our EEN function, Enterprise Network. When we left the EU, we dropped out of that, but we've now been taken back. So if you're looking for suppliers, collaborators, distributors in Europe, we can help. Next slide, please, Phil. So, without emphasizing this again, we work with innovation-focused businesses. Ideally, not necessarily, but a lot of them have grants from Innovate UK, but that's not a requirement. Probably about 25% have a grant from Innovate UK. We work with the 75% that haven't, or maybe looking to looking to apply for one. It must be an SME, so the usual definition of an SME, less than 250 employees. We do work with startups, but not early stage startups. So they must have a product that is near within 6 months to actually launching. So our measures are we get a tick in the box, although it's not a tick in the box, we success when we actually help a company take something to market and commercialize it. That's the core of what we're all about. The other side of the coin is the management must be committed to the process. So we work with companies that really want to grow, and the management team must be committed to actually making this happen. Next slide, please, Phil. So one-on-one advisory support, and we do lots of workshops. We run training events, but we also work in a way where companies will ring you up, hopefully within 9 to 5, but not always asking you questions. So we're there to be your mentor and your guide and a resource. We facilitate access to resources. As I mentioned, the Innovate UK has a huge amount of resources that would probably take me several hours to go through, and we can help you access that resource. And we work alongside you as part of your journey at critical junctures. And we like to think we are honest and we'll give you our honest feedback. The other thing is we do, as I mentioned, have a big team. So if it's something that I can't help you with, I will involve a colleague like Phil. Next slide, please, Phil. So in conclusion, you must be an SME. There must be an element of innovation, either product innovation, service, or process that you're serious about, and you're serious about growing. We cover all sectors. So any sector, as long as you're a business that's trading or near to trading, we'll work with you. Our support is totally bespoke and tailored to the company's needs. So that's part of the process. We spend a lot of time trying to understand from you yourselves and your management team where you want support. We're fully funded, so everything we do is funded. The only thing we ask, again, is the commitment to the process. As I mentioned earlier, you can access, there's a lot of things that Innovate UK can support businesses with that you're not aware of. So we can help you access that support. Signing on process is fairly simple, usually takes 2 or 3 weeks. We have a face-to-face meeting, so we visit. We understand what you're trying to do. We do a check as to how ambitious you are, how ready you are for growth. We have a screening process, which we put you through. If you don't get through, that doesn't mean we can't help you, but it means you go on a slightly different program. And we then send an email, which is just our terms and condition, which you just have to respond to that email. And then we follow up with a diagnostic, which basically helps determine where we will support you. So it may be a combination of what the management team thinks they need help, but there may be other things that come out of the diagnostic. Now, I know I've rushed through this, but Phil has got quite a lot to go through. So if there's any questions, I'll stay on at the end. But certainly you'll have my email. So if there's something you want to know more about, or you're more interested in finding out more about the program, then drop me an email. And I'd like to pass you over to my colleague, Phil.
Superb. Ian, many thanks for that. A very thorough insight into what we do. So today we're here to talk about how AI is changing marketing and sales. I want to offer a practical insight into how you guys as SMEs can use AI, both in terms of business operations and to drive revenue. A bit of a background on me. I went to law school, and then a greedy bank gobbled me up. I'd worked there for about 7 years. I then did an MBA specialized in finance and innovation. I then set up my own technology company, exited that, and now I'm supporting UK SMEs in the Southeast region. And I'd say that was sort of a typical profile of a lot of innovation and growth specialists. So I specialize in investment readiness, go-to-market strategies, operational efficiency, so think lean, which is something that Ian does a lot about, as well as new technology. So let's get stuck into it. So AI basics for business. I don't know where you guys, all the listeners, are on AI, but let's start with the basics. It's basically pattern recognition. So the machines learn patterns in a huge amount of data and then help you make decisions. So in terms of the history of computers, it went hardware, software, software developed a lot of data, and AI is now making helping us make sense of that data. The way that it works is a totally another webinar, and that'll take a hell of a lot of time, but I'd be delighted to speak to you about it. The key technologies are machine learning. So that's things like predictive analytics, forecasting, natural language processing. So think chatbox, think ChatGPT. I imagine a lot of you guys are using ChatGPT, and computer vision. So this is image recognition, video creation. My wife is totally obsessed with what she can create on Gemini at the moment. So it really is impressive and transformative. Now, the key thing is it's now accessible, affordable for SMEs. And my proposition is it represents a huge opportunity for you guys to scale efficiently with an eye on ROI, for example, whilst at the same time achieving greater revenue and reducing costs. So it's sort of key part of technology. How AI is reshaping SME team structures and operating models. This comes from the key idea that AI will enable SMEs to run leaner, faster, and more cross-functional teams. Essentially, it will enable you to reduce headcount while at the same time being able to grow. So if we have a quick look at that, it means potentially fewer people. All of your repetitive tasks could be replaced. Things like client outreach, content generation, that's obviously very important for sales and marketing, data entry and data analysis. Okay, so it's really achieving that 10x on the sales side. What they're also saying, number two, is there's a shift to this hybrid between humans and AI teams. So if you're into software, a lot of software is now being written by let's say ChatGPT and then checked on Gemini. So code is being written. Obviously, for marketeers, it's a lot around content creation and marketing planning. And then sales, it's on targeted automated outreach, which you can talk about a little bit more. So that tells me that we will see new roles emerge within companies. AI operators, for example, who will prompt and help manage the AI tools, and we could talk about prompt engineering at the end, as well as sort of cross-functional leads, people who understand both, let's say, product, and marketing. The long-term effect of this is that the hierarchies within teams will be flattened, and I can propose what could happen. So that will affect cost structures. So your traditional cost structure, which is very layered, large teams, high fixed costs, heavy salary, could be positively affected in terms of those operational costs. So the AI model is much higher productivity, fewer full-time hires, and potentially less on the SaaS spend. So it's scalability without proportionally growing your headcount. This is a proposal of where things could go, but I'm using marketing from an operational perspective as an example. You have team structures before AI and after AI. So before AI, you could say, okay, it's very layered, very hierarchical. You have, your management layer, feeding back to the marketing layer, and then the support staff, right? Support staff doing a lot of the manual work. So there could be, not only are you creating silos, there are also potential bottlenecks, and a lot of manual tasks, cold outreach, the sort of admin and that content creation. What we're basically sort of seeing projected, I'm not saying this is going to happen anytime soon, this year, next year, but a lot of the early stage companies now are thinking, okay, well, how can we flatten that structure and be as cost effective as possible? That's why it's interestingly affecting the VC space. So the AI essentially becomes an embedded assistant across those departments of marketing, product, sales, etc., enabling 2 or 3 people who look after that function to, let's say, write code, build campaigns, automate tasks, respond to customers, generate reports. So the idea is that you have one core team with crossover skills managing multiple AI support products. Okay. Now, what I've done here, just to obviously sort of jump in and address the purpose of the webinar is, if you're looking, what tools can you use? Can you guys as successful SMEs, what can you use in order in that marketing and that sales function, right? So what I've done here is I've sort of plotted and assumed a lot, plotted the stage at which an individual company is, let's say, marketing, and then eventually turning over into sales. So, for example, if we look at stage one is about raising awareness of the brand. Now, how do you do that? Paid ads, events, SEO. I'm sure a lot of people at the moment are already using ChatGPT to quickly generate SEO optimized websites, social media sites, etc. Jasper is another platform that you can use that creates high converting ad and content tailored to your target audience. So the idea is that you're using these technologies to be much more targeted and we can get onto the finances, to improve your customer acquisition costs, for example. And that's really essential. The next stage is around generating ideas. Once you've thrown the net out, you've got to then start pulling the leads in. I've used HubSpot AI because HubSpot, obviously, AI is part of the HubSpot CRM, but it delivers very smart lead scoring and personalized call to actions to capture and nurture your needs effectively. Then once you've thrown it out, you've got this consideration stage. How are you going to sort of bring that crossover between sales and marketing? How do you convert the interest? Key activities here around email nurturing and client segmentation. So again, you've got Apollo to really drill into that personalization, personalized emails, sending out and creating frequently asked questions, as well as Apollo.io, which on another occasion I'd be delighted to demo for you. But it's an incredible platform that automates these targeted outbound email campaigns based upon the type of client profile that you want to speak to, and then can also personalize outreach. So, the idea here is that hopefully is being pushed. It's very personalized. It's very specific. So now we move over to the sales function. So now we've got, okay, so client engagement, what can we do here? Again, Apollo is very good for that client engagement, automated emails, helping the sales team identify and reach high intent leads a lot quicker. Conversion and closing, again, HubSpot AI is very good at using within the CRM predictive analytics to score the leads and forecast which leads are more likely to close than others. So again, it's massively efficient. This is what we're looking at. It's the technology that can reduce costs as well as help you drive revenue. You've also got client onboarding once they've agreed. One of the first things I would suggest all of you start to look at is the AI voice recorders, Fireflies, for example. So it can capture meetings, it can transcribe them, you can integrate into your AI, and it can also very effectively create reports, and you can also create structures around the reports that indicate whether the client is, worth an upsell, or you can sell other products too. And then once again, coming back to HubSpot, you've got that retention and expansion. How can the AI help you identify essentially customer upselling opportunities, right, through behavioral and historical data analysis? So the idea is that you're able to plug in a lot of data with this technology can be very efficient in helping you make decisions around which customers to target quicker than others. So this is if you, for example, as a company were to use all of those platforms, it's coming out at about £175 per month per user. And the reason I thought I'd put this in there is because it's absolutely essential that when when you guys are assessing whether to use AI or not, one of the most fundamental questions is it going to be sort of financially worth it? So 175 times, what is it? 175 times 12 is coming out at just over £2,000 a month. So if you decide to use anything in AI, it's absolutely essential that you measure its impact. You benchmark both against pre-AI, your pre-AI engagement. So you can keep an eye on leads, amount of leads in, leads conversions. That's super important. This is obviously important to track your ROI. So it's marketing spend versus sales cost. And what I would sort of suggest you to do is always look to use tools with built-in analytics because it's going to be more cost effective. For example, HubSpot. I've sort of been referring to this a couple of times. It's really essential that when you're looking at AI, you keep an eye on these costs: customer acquisition costs, customer lifetime value, and marketing ROI. There's significant research out there that's saying that, for example, on customer acquisition cost, if you're using AI-powered lead and targeting platforms, it's going to reduce your customer acquisition cost by about 30%, right? So this is, really affecting your bottom line. It can improve customer lifetime value by about 10 to 30% because once again, it's enabling that hyper-personalized content, which can lead to higher engagement, better upselling, stronger customer retention. BCG put out something very interesting. So ultimately, what it's doing is it's driving it you're being much more efficient with your marketing ROI. So, the idea is that you're improving it between 2 to 5x. There's a very good report by Deloitte on how it could be, potentially improving your spend. What I would suggest to you in terms, if you're wanting to sort of really upscale and start really experimenting with things that are beyond, let's say, ChatGPT or Gemini, there's a load of incredible platforms, Manus, which is really interesting. One of the things that you can do with us, if you so wish, you can reach out and we can help you, let's say, map your funnel. So you understand within your marketing and sales pipeline, where are your bottlenecks, right? Once you've understood that, you could maybe trial one AI tool per function, whether it's content creation, CRM with integrated AI, outreach, for example, using Apollo. Then it falls down for you to track the metrics. That's super important. That's essentially how you can track whether it's being efficient or not. And then you can think about upskilling your team members. So AI basically is that co-pilot. That's something that always needs to be mentioned. It is not a replacement. We can talk about that at the end. This is just an idea of potential practical implementation. Month 1 or 2, it's that sales process, the marketing process. You can establish your metrics, which tool to use. Month 3 to 4, you can add further AI content, implement lead scoring, for example. You can move on to slightly more AI advanced platforms, and then maybe month 5 and 6, you can really integrate these tools across your entire platform, really automate your tasks, and then effectively measure your ROI. Now, final thoughts. I know I have whizzed through that because there was a lot to do, lot to go, and we didn't have much time. I just wanted to leave people with these final thoughts. Now, these are sort of 2 interesting points that I thought worth mentioning. One is from Ginny Rometty. Some people call this artificial intelligence, but the reality is that technology will enhance us. So instead of artificial intelligence, I think it will augment, complement, add to our intelligence. So that really is important. If you have used ChatGPT, which, for example, it's not the golden ticket. You have to edit it. You have to read over it. And the more you use it and the more you ask it questions, the better answers it will get. But I sort of think that comment needs to be considered in the following quote, which is Gary Kasparov. AI is not going to replace people, but people who use AI are going to replace people who don't. And I think there's something prescient there. So there you go. That is me. I can probably hang around for another 5 minutes if people have some questions. I know that I've probably really rushed through that, but it was a short session. I can certainly share share the slides. My name is Phillip Jarman, and if any of what I've said is interesting, as well as Ian has said, please email me on this, and we can have a follow-up conversation.
Perfect, Philip, Ian, thank you ever so much. I mean, if there is any questions at all, do feel free. Like Philip said, he's got another 5 minutes or so we probably have time for a couple of quick questions. If anybody did have any, feel free to unmute and ask away. or put those in the chat. Was there any questions, quick ones before we finish? No, not that I'm seeing any. In which case, we will finish things off there. Like Philip said, if you did have any questions after the session, please do contact him. As he mentioned, we will be sending the slides out alongside the recording of the session for those of you who perhaps joined slightly later. Finally, just another thank you to Philip and Ian from Innovate UK for taking the time out of their day to give this presentation. I've been Henry from the Kent and Victor Chamber of Commerce. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you all.